It's universally accepted that calorie restriction is the most powerful anti-aging strategy that one can follow. This has been proven across many species, and we know that calorie restriction works. Researchers have been trying to find out what it is specifically that calorie restriction does to allow the incidence of disease to drop and aging to be reduced. Now, what we do know also that humans will unlikely ever do calorie restriction, because you got to cut your calories by 30%, 40%. Humans aren't going to do it. They just can't. They can't do it. So there has to be alternatives to calorie restriction that will work. Now, one thing that we've discovered is that calorie restriction reduces an individual's exposure to glucose, blood sugar, and to insulin, the pancreatic hormone that's secreted in response to the rising glucose level. Its purpose is to clear the blood, help clear the blood of glucose. Of course, its primary role is to slow or stop the release of fat from the fat cell. That's insulin's primary job. But we never get there because we can't talk about fat. That's taboo. Because we all know that fat will kill us, which is utter nonsense. But this is how these myths are spread in the society. Now, the outcome of calorie restriction, one of the key things that it also reduces is glycation. That's the binding of glucose or blood sugar to the tissue proteins. Now, unfortunately, most proponents of calorie restriction are also vegetarian-like in their thinking. So that calorie-restricted diet is also going to be high in carbohydrates, and that's going to be a real problem. So to get any benefit from the calorie restriction, you've got to really reduce your calories, because you're still going to have a high exposure to glucose, and that's going to be the issue. You can get very good effects by just lowering your carbohydrate content, and then you don't have to restrict your calories so harshly, because we know that people just aren't going to do that. And there has to be other ways around this. So what we've been looking for are the reasons why calorie restriction is so effective. And the primary one that's popped up is the reduction in your exposure to glucose and insulin. That's why it really works. So we can now get back into the low carbohydrate or carbohydrate restricted diet as one of the key strategies, not just for weight control, but for health improvements and disease prevention. So that's the value of the low carbohydrate diet, and that information is just getting out there. There's more and more people talking about it every day. But there is a lot of opposition to it as well within the community that believes that fat and cholesterol are the cause of heart disease, which is not true.